I walked out of the tunnel with Kool-Aid's camp, right? And it's like, it's like this, As I walk on the field, Calvin Johnson is like running around the field. And I'm looking at myself like, bro, like, I don't think I belong out here.
His voice ever scare you? You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, come on, real fast. He's a massive human being, and I feel like I'm talking to Barry White right now. Yo, I'm Robert Griffin III, and welcome to RG3 and The Ones, a Wave Sports and Entertainment original presented by PrizePicks. On this show, we're talking to some of the most interesting people in the world, so if you haven't hit that like or subscribe button yet, I don't know what you're waiting for. I'm just the one that thought the Tom Brady Roast was way over the top, but hilarious. We'll get to that a little bit later. Make sure you guys like and subscribe to our YouTube page. Make sure you like and subscribe and listen to us wherever you get your podcasts, and know that we're going to be dropping new episodes every single week. And we need you guys to be ready to follow us on social media so you can get those daily clips so we can show you what's happening in this world. All right, guys, coming up on this episode, I'm talking to the one that they nicknamed the Honey Badger because, he might be smaller, but his tenacious D allows him to play above his weight. I'm talking about the man that is a 4-time All-Pro, a 3-time Pro Bowler, a Super Bowl champion, and one of my favorite players ever. I'm talking about the man, the myth, the legend, Tyrann Mathieu. Welcome to the show, brother.
Man, it's an honor, man. It's an honor.
Hey, man, it's good to see that smile on your face and just what you've been able to do in your career. But I want to start this bad boy off with the hard-hitting, pressing questions, all right?
Yeah.
What are the best food spots in New Orleans, Louisiana?
Man, I tell you, man, it's probably too many to name. You know what I mean? And to be honest, man, it's really those hole-in-the-wall spots. You know what I mean? It's those spots that's like right off the main streets. They can really get down. You know what I mean? So that's like Bromo passed it down to Baby Girl, and now Baby Girl passing it down to her daughter. You know what
There you go. Exactly.
Yeah.
Hey, they know what they're doing. And I had Keon Coleman, the rookie receiver from the Bills, come on the show. And he's from Opelousas, Louisiana.
Yep.
So he talking to me about Mama's Fried Chicken and Billy's. And this man told me that he thinks that Opelousas has better food than New Orleans. And I almost had a conniption, bro. I couldn't believe he said that.
Nah, man. I think the heart, obviously home is where the heart is. You know what I mean?
That's true.
Like,
That's true.
I think he knows the honest answer. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Thank you.
You gotta come down south.
There you go. I live in Houston right now, and him saying that the food in Opelousas is better than the food in New Orleans is almost like saying that the beignets in Houston is better than the beignets in Freeport. Right. Like, it's just not. It's good, all due respect, but it ain't better. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. No doubt.
And now you're a guy that is true fire from New Orleans, Louisiana. I try to tell people this. I am from New Orleans.
Oh, they don't know that.
They don't know that, right? When I talk to somebody from Opelousas, I'm from New Orleans.
Yeah.
But when I talk to somebody from New Orleans, like you, born and raised, now you're back there playing again, I'm from Texas. You know what I mean? Like, it's just the truth of the matter. My whole family's down there. I gotta say, they love you. Absolutely love you. Big fans of you. All my cousins. Aunts, uncles, nieces, nephews, they just love you, the player, and you, the man. So just how cool has that been to be able to be back in New Orleans, your hometown? And I know you just signed an extension as well. When you could have went ring chasing somewhere else. Just how important has it been for you to be back in the city?
Man, it's been a true blessing. I'm really fortunate, man, to really be on this journey. I feel like I've seen a lot. I've been able to experience a lot, and, obviously God has really, really, kept his hands on me, and really throughout this whole process. And, when I came back home, man, it was just such a great opportunity, to not just come back to play football, but to really come back and leave a lasting, legacy, outside the game. And so, I do a lot of stuff in the community because like that's who I am. I feel like I was born to serve. You know what I mean? Whether it be teammates, whether it be the community, whether it be my own family, So I just try to stay in that space, man. But it's been fun to be back.
Yeah, man, you're doing it. I've seen everything that you've been doing with Son of a Saint. I actually went down there last year and did an event with them in partnership with the Sugar Bowl. So like you're making an impact, bro. Not just with your play on the field, but everything you're doing off it. And listen, I do my studying, man, and you had 4 interceptions this past year. Obviously, 2 in the same game against the Falcons. I know my man Desmond Ritter didn't like seeing you that much. But you also have more interception return yards this year than you have in your entire career.
Yeah.
Are you like drinking from a fountain of youth, bro? Because you seem like you just keep getting better. Like, what is it?
Man, to be honest, man, I just love the challenge. You know, I love the fact that, man, we could get a little better, you know, every year. You know, and you know, I probably say last couple of seasons hasn't really gone the way, you know, we wanted it to go. But I still love the challenge. You know, I love to be out here. I love to come to work. You know, I love to hang around the young guys. They keep me young. You know what I mean? So it's fun, man.
Yeah, you talk about that challenge, and I believe you're on record. You had said that you thought Arizona, when you were there, they drafted Budda Baker to kind of replace you. And then you go to Kansas City and you want to be in Kansas City, and they decide not to bring you back. But you've always found a way. And this is just me talking from watching your career. You seem to have always found a way to get better with your next team and like not try to prove, but prove the previous team wrong. Like, where does that mindset come from and how do you pull that off every time?
Well, to be honest, man, it's really always been like that for me. You know, like we go way back to the high school recruiting process, you know what I mean? And, you know, LSU and, you know, even Arizona, like it hadn't always gone my way, you know, but like my motto is like, I'm going to make the best of whatever hand I get dealt. You know, and that's kind of the space I like to live in. You know what I mean? Because there's so much going on in the world and so much going on outside us. Like you can find yourself always in a tense space, like in a space where you got to fight for survival. You know what I mean? And it's just not a healthy place to be in. You know what I mean? So I just try to stay in my space, man, and you know, take the good with the bad, and you know, not try to have any like you know, vendettas or anything like that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's all about continuing to grow, keep my smile. That's one of the things I'm most proud of. It's like, I'm still smiling. I'm still happy inside. You know what I mean? And I think when you play in this league, it's after a while to kind of take that away from you. You know what I mean? And so, I'm very blessed, you know, in that regard.
When it comes to like keeping that smile, I know exactly what you mean because the game can become more business-like. Than that like fun kid game we love to play. But who has helped you keep that smile and keep things in perspective?
Man, I tell you, man, when I came into the league, I tell kids all the time, they ask me like how I did it. And man, I was so blessed, you know, like when I first came in the league, and it's all about, you know, the guys that's in front of you and the guys that's around you. And man, I felt so blessed to just be in the locker room like Larry Fitzgerald, like Calais Campbell, Patrick Peterson, you know what I mean? Like I was off to a fast start, you know what I mean? Just coming to work every day and, you know, eating lunch with those guys, picking their brain, because they weren't just good football players, you know, like they did a lot of great things off the field as well, you know, whether it be, you know, community service or, you know, even with business, right? And so I've always tried to surround myself around guys like that, you know, guys that just continue to make you better, continue to push you forward. And, you know, those people that hold you accountable. Like they give you a chance to recognize your responsibility, you know. And I've always appreciated being around those guys. I feel blessed that I've had that chance because, you know, I feel like a lot of that has played a part, you know, in me being in this league this long, just surviving and, you know, taking the punches and keeping it rolling.
Yeah, and that kind of brings me. You bring up Calais Campbell, so I was teammates with Calais in Baltimore. His voice ever scare you? You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, come on, real fast. He got a deep voice
man. He got a deep voice. Man, he's just so big. You know,
he's a huge human being.
Just standing next to him, man. I remember my first game, not my first game, maybe like my third, fourth game in my rookie season.
Right.
And I walked out of the tunnel with Calais Campbell, right? And it's like, you know, it's like this, you know. As I walk on the field, Calvin Johnson is like running around the field, about to play the line. And he just as tall as Calais. And I'm looking at myself like, bro, like, I don't think I belong out here. Like these dudes are just way bigger than me, you know?
Right. No, I mean, Calais, for a big dude, you kind of expect like a little bit of bass, but like, bro, the first time I talked to him, I'm like, oh my God, this man he's a massive human being. And I feel like I'm talking to Barry White right now. But
and that's his real voice.
It's his real voice. Not fake at all. He never once, no high pitchedness, none of that. It's always down there in that baritone.
Yeah.
So you extend with the Saints, right?
Yep.
Could you explain why you decided to sign back?
Well, when I came here, man, there was a lot of expectations, you know, and I'd probably say the last couple of years hasn't really gone, you know, the way we wanted it to go, you know. So I was like, man, like I came here, you know, obviously to serve my community, but man, like I want to win too, you know, and so now I have another opportunity, another chance to help this team win, help this city win. You know, I just felt like I didn't do enough, you know, the last couple of years. So I was definitely grateful, you know, to have another opportunity to, you know, help the team win, man. Because, you know, as you know, man, it's all about wins and losses.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And I used to hate having to scout and go up against you. I always called you like this sneaky player. You know, like you on the back end, and it's like, hey, I'm playing this coverage, but nah, I'm really lurk, and I'm gonna come get that ball from you. And when I watch you play like that, and you see the way the game has changed, right? Whether it's the hip drop tackle or guys not being able to get hit over the middle like they used to when you first came into the league, when I came into the league. How have you been able to like adjust your game throughout the last 12 years to make sure that you can still play at a high level and still execute on the defensive side at a high level?
Yeah, I mean, as far as the rules and stuff, man, you just pick your spots. You know, like every play isn't meant to, you know, blow a guy up. You know what I mean? And so I just find a way to kind of pick my spots, you know, when I could like, you know, hit somebody hard or, you know what I mean, when I can't, you know. So, but for me, man, my motto has always been really simple. Like the game has always been about the ball. There's only one football in the field. And I don't care if you're running it or passing it, right? Like I need to get my hands on it. You know what I mean? So, you know, I think the game is still fair in that regard. Like I can still attack the football. You know what I mean? I just can't attack the person with the football. You know?
That's a good way to look at it. Yeah.
So, that's really my mindset, man. It's like it's one football out here. I'm going wherever the ball goes, you know? So
no, I mean I guess if you look at it that way, as opposed to trying to physically and you know impose physical harm on somebody.
A big part of defense is that. Right? Yeah. Like before I step on the field, I want you to fear me. You know, and
that's true.
You know, so it's like that intimidating factor. You know, I think about like the Ravens defense. You know, this is a great defense, right? And before they even got on the field, you were like worried, right? And so I just feel like they've kind of taken that out of the game a little bit. You know what I mean? I don't think guys are as afraid or they're not as worried, you know, as they were before. You know what I mean? But the game is still about that ball, man. How we get that ball.
I like it. That's a perfect way to look at it. RG3 and The Ones is presented by PrizePicks. Testing my skills on PrizePicks this basketball season and, of course, last football season has been some of the most fun I've had, and it's very simple to get into that action. You select 2 or more players, pick more or less on their projected stats, and submit your lineup, just like that. Quick withdrawals, easy gameplay, and an enormous selection of players and stat types are what makes PrizePicks the #1 fantasy sports app. I made my first $10 deposit and received an instant $10 bonus. Just like that. If you have the skills, you can play for a shot at turning your $10 into $1,000. Playoff time is your time to join the PrizePicks community of over 5 million members who have already downloaded the app. And you guys get this, PrizePicks is available in more than 30 states across the country, including California, Texas, and Georgia. I don't know why we, pointed those out, but yeah, California, Texas, and Georgia, let's go. This playoff season, the star players mean more on PrizePicks. Keep an eye out for the starred players on the board, and you could receive a 10% payout boost if they're in your winning lineup. Kickoff might be a long way out, but you can already pick more or less on 2024 season stats on PrizePicks. Season totals for passing yards, receiving touchdowns, sacks, you name it, we've got it. But let's get into some of those early football picks that we talked about. This week on PrizePicks, I selected C.J. Stroud to throw for more than 4,150 and a half passing yards. Why? because he just got the dynamic number one wide receiver, Stephon Diggs, and that's going to be good for at least a bump of about 100 to 200 yards. Secondly, I'm going to go ahead and take Josh Allen to throw for more than 3,755 and a half passing yards. And I know he just lost the dynamic number one wide receiver in Stephon Diggs that went to CJ Stroud, but Josh Allen is an MVP level quarterback. So I believe he should still be able to amass that amount of yardage and take the Bills to the playoffs. So those are my picks. Daily Fantasy Sports is made easy with PrizePicks. So make sure you guys download the app today and use code RG3 for a first deposit match of up to $100. Again, download the app today and use code RG3 for a first deposit match of up to $100. Let's get this money, y'all. Continuing to talk about these Saints. All right, so you wouldn't come back if you didn't feel like you guys had a chance to not just make the playoffs, but also go win a Super Bowl. What do you think it's going to take for you guys to be more consistent from the beginning of the season through the end to make that happen?
Yeah, I mean the last two seasons, I really feel like we finished the season strong, right? And but when you look at our record, you're like, man, like 7-9, 9-8, just not good enough, right? And I think about a lot of the games we played. A lot of one-score games. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, I remember we went up there to Green Bay, we lost by 1 point. You know what I mean? So it's like, how can we put the work in throughout the off season, throughout camp? Like, how can we grow closer so that we do win 2, 3, 4, more games? Because we have the players to do it, right? And we've had opportunities to win. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we just haven't done it. And so if we could just, man, focus on the work and then, man, just win those games that you're supposed to.
Right.
Still a game that you're supposed to steal, and
right.
we'll find ourselves in a much better situation. We're not that far off. Like I said, 7-9 and 9-8, like all you need is 3, 4 more wins, man. And the Chiefs won the Super Bowl, they were 11-6. So it could happen. You know what I mean? But you have to find a way to create that momentum towards the end of the season that carry us to the off season. But we have the players to do it. I think our coaches are pretty good too. So we have everything we need, man. We just got to find a way to finish those games and close them out stronger.
Yeah, and it's like you said, like the expectations have been so high for you guys because you have the guys to get it done.
Right.
So when you look at a guy on your side of the ball like Marshon Lattimore, like there's been, trade speculation all offseason. But what does a guy like him bring to your defense that makes him so valuable?
Yeah, man. He represents everything it means to play defense, for the Saints in Dennis Allen, defense.
Okay.
We play a lot of man-to-man. It's a lot of man-on-man, you know what I mean? And that's your guy. Wherever he goes, you got him. And I think we really count on that, in that regard, especially in our division and our conference too, man. Like,
it's true.
I mean, every team has, a really good receiver, and you have to have a really good corner, right? Or you don't have a chance. And so, he provides us with that security. And, he's motivated too. The last couple of years hasn't really gone his way either, and I've talked to him a few times this offseason, and like he's itching to get back to it, because people aren't talking about him.
That's true.
He's one of the best corners in his league. So, he's definitely motivated, and I think he'll be ready to roll this shit for sure.
Yeah, so you talked about, like, when you bring up and you give all that description about Lattimore, that doesn't sound like a guy I would trade. Just personally, I know you don't have anything to do with that. That's not the decisions that we're making. So I'm not going to ask you that question, but he just seems like he's so valuable to you guys. And then you go to the draft, and it feels like to me what you guys did in the draft was more so like depth related to give you guys those pieces just in case something does happen. Yeah. And you guys bring in a guy that's like all nickname team, kind of like you with the Honey Badger, Kool-Aid McKinstry. Yeah. He is a man coverage guy. Yeah. He plays that cat defense, and you cover that cat over there, and he'll go do it. Have you had a chance to like either meet him or watch his game, or what do you think he could possibly bring to the defense as well? Man,
he's so polished, and I always respect that because a lot of people think I'm a flashy player, but I'm really a technician.
Yes, you are.
And so I always relied on my coaches, to kind of give me that stuff, and then I just put my own sauce on it, right? And so I say that to say, man, he's a polished player. he comes from under Nick Saban, so I already know he understands the cornerback position, nickel position, and a safety position. I know he's a smart player, right? And so obviously that's learning curves, when you come to the league. But I think he has more than enough talent, man, more than enough, just cognitive, thinking ability that he'll be all right, especially in this defense. Like we play 4 or 5 cornerbacks. You know what I mean? And so we're going to need him to play early and play big for us.
Yeah, I think that's what Mickey Loomis said. He said we need all the corners we can get. And because of that style of defense you guys play it. And I just wanted to ask you this question because your coach, Dennis Allen, has been a topic of conversation, right? Some would say he's on the hot seat. But why is he the right coach for you as a player? And why is he the right coach for the Saints to go do what they want to do?
Well, he's a good coach, man. Like, especially on the defensive side of the ball. I've been around some of the best. I played under Romeo Crennel. I played under Todd Bowles. I played under Stagnola, in Kansas City, right? And he's up there, man. Like he's on. Right. And I like to tell people too, man. Like sometimes you just go through rough spots, you go through rough patches, But I don't think that's like an indictment on your character, it may just be the season you're in. You know what I mean? But like he's more than capable, of leading us. I think the kind of like what people are saying outside of us, we don't really feel like that. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
Like we see him in the hall, we see him in the cafeteria, like it's always love. You know what I mean? Right. He's always engaging with us. So, and I think as a professional player, like that's all you can really ask for from your coach.
That's true.
Just ask how my kid's doing every now. And I think he represents all that.
Yeah, and Tyrann, you're a leader. You've been a leader on every team you've been on. And there was a moment that you set up, I'm not saying it's your fault, but you set up this moment when you had the 74-yard return down to the down to the 1 yard line. And there was a lot of commotion about Jameis Winston giving the ball to Jamal Williams on the fake victory formation touchdown, right? All fun and games until somebody gets fired. And that's exactly what happened to Arthur Smith at the Falcons, right? So, there was a lot of speculation of like how the team felt about that. Yeah. From your perspective, seeing that happen and knowing how much Jamal Williams means to the team, just what was the locker room feel about that play? And then obviously how it put a heavy burden on Coach Allen.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, man, I actually think it came from a good place. Man, like when you see Jamal work, like he's one of the hardest working dudes. Like he's probably going to throw up after every workout. You know what I mean? Like that's how hard he's working, right? And,
right.
Man, we all go through stuff, man. You know what I mean? Yeah. And, obviously the year before, like this thing, he had 21 touchdowns, 22, something crazy like that, right? And like we couldn't find a way to get him in the end zone. And I think Jameis just kind of saw that. He's like, man, this dude bust his ass all year, let's just get him in the end zone, we're right here, so, and I think it came from that place, but, obviously, man, I've been on defenses with Patrick Peterson, right, like, change the play call, you know what I mean, that's a conversation you gotta have with coach, and you gotta tell him, man, like it didn't come from a bad place, and I think you just have to make that clear.
Yeah, and I know it puts the coach in a tough spot because you tell him to go do something, and then it's different. Like, I'm sure you caught a pick at some point in your career, playing the coverage a little bit differently than it was maybe written up on paper. But because it was such a great play, no one hears about it. Right. Coach goes to a press conference. He's like, yep, I told him to play it just like that. Right. But because it was perceived as a negative, now it's like, oh, he doesn't have this, or the players don't respect this or whatever. So I completely understand where you're coming from with that. And I appreciate you, sharing that with us.
Yeah, it's such a team game too, right? Like it's all about the team, So, and I think in those moments you could kind of individualize yourself, and
that's true.
You can kind of forget about the team. You know what I mean? So,
no doubt.
I completely understand both sides.
Yeah. So you talk about team game, and you also mentioned watching Jamal Williams, bust his ass, working hard for the team. Well, you got a quarterback in Derek Carr that I believe is one of the better leaders in the NFL, especially with what he led the Raiders through some tumultuous times there his past couple of years. But they bring in a guy that I believe was the QB steal of the draft in Spencer Rattler. He's faced a ton of adversity throughout his young career before the professionals and goes in the 5th round. Like, have you had a chance to study his game or see the type of player that he is at all?
Yeah, I spent early part of my career in Arizona, so he was like the Rodgers of high school football. You know what I mean? So
that's true.
I mean, the kid can always spin the rock. You know what I mean?
Right.
And like I said, man, we all go through challenges and stuff. I went through some of the same challenges, as a youngster. Right? But a lot of people that I've talked to, they've said like he's turned the corner. You know what I mean? Like, and I think as a youngster, man, that's all you can ask of them, right? Like, it's to grow, learn from the things that you need to learn from, and then just put your best foot forward, going forward. You know what I mean? So, he gonna get a lot of work with us. You know what I mean? we got 2, 3, DB units, that could go out there, right? And so he gonna get plenty of work, and then he's in a good run too, like you said, man. DC he's a good dude. You know what I mean? He takes a lot of punches too. You know what I mean?
He
does. So I think he'll learn from him. He'll learn a lot from him. Especially his first year.
Yeah. What would your advice be to Rattler on how he needs to come into the building, knowing that he does have a good room? Like, it's not going to be a hostile room towards him, if you know what I'm saying. Right. And all these guys want to compete. You know this. Yep. Y'all might be able to play 5 DBs, but we can't play 5 quarterbacks, right? It's just one. What would your advice be to Rattler being a young player coming into the building?
Man, just be a sponge. Soak up as much knowledge, as you can, and like work on the things that you need to work on. Work on your deficiencies. Spend those extra 10, 15 minutes after practice, before practice, right? Like, and I think if you're able to do that, for 2 or 3 years, man, like I think it can help you. You know what I mean? And so, if you just come to work every day, just be where your feet at. Like, that's my motto. You know what I mean? Like, whatever I'm doing, wherever I'm at, like this is what I'm doing. You know what I mean? And I gotta prioritize. I gotta compartmentalize, right? Like, so, if he's able to do that, man, and just keep his head down as a youngster, man, he'll be all right.
Yeah, and speaking of that transition, right, from college to pro, for you going into Arizona, like, when you look back on that time, what was the biggest thing for you, or the biggest thing you learned about yourself making that transition from the college game to the pro game?
Man, before that, I was vocal in the football field. It was like trash talk. Like, I would always be the dude like yelling on the field, right? And when I got to the league, man, I realized that you can still talk trash, but it's a lot of post-snap and pre-snap communication you got to do with your teammates. You know what I mean? And so for me, that was an adjustment. And then, like I said, to bring back what we were talking about earlier, man, it's all about who you surround yourself. And I remember when I came into the league, we had a guy by the name of Rashad Johnson. He went to Alabama. He won like four championships. He wasn't fast. He wasn't strong, right? But he was so smart. And I remember, like, I couldn't get that job for him. We went through the whole spring and the whole training camp, and I could not get the job. And it actually took for him to get hurt for me to start to become the starter. But he taught me something, though. He was like, man, like if you can apply yourself, right? Like, in the classroom, because I already had the ability to take it to the field naturally. Right. Like, but if you could apply yourself, like, that's going to help you down the line, right? And now I'm going into year 12. I don't run as fast as I used to. I don't jump as high as I used to. But I'm smart. I'm still smart, right? And so I could put myself in certain situations and positions to make a play. And, man, I credit a lot of that to Rashad, because before that, man, it was all anticipation. Like, it was all like, trying to guess right. You know what I mean? And, he really helped slow the game down for me. And, I really started to get my hands on football. Because before that, it was more fumbles. I didn't really catch a lot of interceptions.
That's true.
And now I can't stop catching interceptions. Like, I can't even get a forced fumble no more, though. So, man, but they
gotta blitz. They gotta blitz you more. In my mentions, bro, on social media, at least once a week, is somebody from LSU telling me that Tyrann Mathieu should have won the Heisman Trophy in 2011. And I'm like, you know what? Listen, he's one of my favorite players. I get it. I loved him too. Just, you talked about those forced fumbles, but if you could reflect back on that year at LSU in 2011, just how special of a year was that for you and that program getting to a national championship?
Man, it was amazing. Some of the best times, really of my life, man. And so many good people too, man, that I like still keep in touch with, still keep in contact with, and I remember that year, man, and the thing that I remember most about that is how close we were, as a team, man. Like, we were so tight. We did everything together. And, if you watched us play, you could see that, and that's what I miss. That's what I remember the most, man. It's just like, and college too, man. It's like, you don't get those days back.
That's true. That's true. You don't get them back. They gone. Once they gone, they gone.
So that's what I remember the most. Just all those great memories, that all of us created with each other.
Yeah. We talked about this at the beginning of this conversation, that my entire family is from New Orleans. And I don't mean just like they were there for a couple years.
Yeah.
my dad's got 7 brothers and sisters.
Okay.
So they all down there still to this day. And I just never heard the end of it, bro. Like, I know when we met at the Heisman and we had that whole, everybody getting to know each other and whatnot. Yeah. I felt like I already knew you.
Right.
Because everybody in my family was just, hey, bro, Tyrann Mathieu. I'm like, listen, that's why, like, I didn't take it in a bad way, but watching you had 77 tackles, 1.5 sacks, 5 forced fumbles, 4 fumble recoveries, 2 return for touchdown, 2 punt return touchdowns that year. You won the Chuck Bednarik Award, right? You're the SEC Defensive Player of the Year and the MVP of the SEC Championship game.
Yeah.
Like, it's not that makes you one of my favorite players. It's the fact that I feel like you've always shown respect to all of your peers, and you've always been respected by your peers because we knew just how talented you were. And to now see you be able to be the Walter Payton Man of the Year and see the impact that you're having on the community that looks up to you like nobody's business. I just want to say I appreciate you for that.
Thank you.
You've shown people that you're more than just a great football player, but you've also shown them the path to getting back righteous. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
And doing it the right way. So I just want to say I appreciate you for that. For you, like the guys that you played with there on that 2011 team, LSU's has some great rosters and some great teams. Obviously, the 2019 one is the one that pops up for everybody.
Yeah.
But how do you think that your 2011 team would fare against that 2019 LSU team with Joe Burrow and Chase and those guys? Now, your offense might not score any points, but that defense was something serious now.
Yeah. You know what, man? To be honest with you, I'm going to give the 2019 I'll give those guys the edge.
Okay.
Because they did it.
They did it.
We had the same path. Like the championship game was in New Orleans and everything, right? And we just dropped the ball. It's hard. I will say this. It is hard to beat Nick Saban twice.
That's true. That's true. I think a lot of people have learned that. But bro, I'm looking at y'all's roster right on defense, and it was you, Mo Claiborne, Eric Reed, Michael Brocker, Sam Montgomery, Barkevious Mingo. Like, and I know some of these guys didn't do as many numbers in the pros, but like Montgomery had 9 sacks that year. Mingo had 8. Yeah. Brockers was a beast. I'm like, I get it, but like that's a pretty formidable defense. You know what I'm saying?
It is. It is. And man, let's tell you, we played in a lot of, low scoring games.
That's true.
Year, right?
That's true.
That's true. I just feel like Joe Burrow, man, like he would give them the edge.
I got you.
Like one of these drives, he'll go down and get 7.
On one of them, a couple, maybe. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
No, I totally understand where you're coming from. And then just recently, in closing, did you see the Tom Brady roast, bro?
I did. I thought it was funny.
Oh my gosh. It was like, I was very shocked because there was some dark humor in there a little bit.
There's a lot of dark humor.
There was a lot of dark humor in that bad boy. But just what were your overall thoughts with like the players going, Randy, Gronk, and Edelman, and just that whole environment?
Well, I thought it was cool, man. Obviously, man, once you get removed from the game, you don't really see those guys, as much anymore. Maybe here.
Right.
So I thought
Right.
it was cool that all those guys, got back around each other. I thought it was cool. I thought time was a great sport. I will say
Right.
this
Yeah, he
because
was.
it's a lot on a chin. And I don't know. I'd probably been so uncomfortable, just uneasy. I thought he did a great job. It was cool to see Bill Belichick, personality. You know what I mean?
Right.
I just thought it was fun. I thought Kim Kardashian took a few strays for no reason at all.
Yeah, but they booed her when she came on the stage and everything. I'm like, golly.
But
they was out there, man.
I thought it was fun though, man. I definitely might watch it again. Sure.
Okay. So, okay. Do you know any of the comedians that were actually doing the roast? Because I thought that Tony, I think it's Hinchcliffe, and also Nikki Glazer were the two best ones. I thought they were phenomenal.
I thought Nikki was she was just so raw, man. She was so funny. You know what I mean? She definitely held it down. Tony did too.
Nah, I thought that Kevin Hart did a phenomenal job hosting it as well, like being the point guard. He made it funny, but he kicked it off immediately. Like they was attacking the marriage and everything. I was I don't know if I could have stood up there and do that. But no, I thought it was a great little event and everything. Yeah. Last question for you is: have you been paying attention at all? And this isn't about football, obviously. Yeah. Have you been paying attention at all to this rap beef with Kendrick and Drake?
Yeah, I mean, you can't not pay attention to it. It's like it's everywhere. You know what I mean? I will say this: I've never really been a big Drake fan. I think he's a great artist, but he's just not one of those guys that I listen to a lot.
Right.
I definitely listen to Kendrick more.
Okay.
So I probably see I'm a little biased towards Kendrick.
Right.
But I just feel like, Fred, it's like, are y'all trying to take away each other's greatness? Because both of y'all are great.
Thank you.
After a while, it's just like, man, like, are you even telling the truth? So that's
see that. I haven't been in the thick of it, I would say. Yeah. Like a lot of people, like doing dissertations and doing TikTok videos and whatnot. I haven't been there. I've been listening to everything that's been going on. And that's kind of the conclusion I came to, Tyrann. Like, are they trying to take away each other's greatness? And this is a deeper question, and you don't have to answer it if you don't want to, but it feels like sometimes in our own community, we have these tits and tats for which version of black is better.
Correct.
Right? Like if you ain't hood, you ain't good. You know what I'm saying? Right. If you ain't in the streets, then you need to take a seat. And it's like, I feel like I can appreciate Kendrick's greatness. I can appreciate Drake's greatness. I can appreciate Tupac's greatness, Biggie's greatness, without trying to diminish the other because they're a different version of black. What are your thoughts on that? And like that, it's not infighting, but it's like we're tearing each other down for other people's entertainment. In our own community. What's your thoughts on that?
I feel the same, man. I think, honestly, man, that's probably why God made people like us. It's like, kind of just get everybody to settle down and think, clearer and think straight. You know what I mean? Because, I think, like you mentioned, as people, man, we've been through enough. So, man, we can't lift each other up. We should just leave each other alone. You know what I mean? But I just feel like, man, social media and the rap world is just in such a bad space right now. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if they need a cleanse. I don't know if they just need a baptize. I don't know, man. But something needs to happen.
Man.
What's going on right now?
Yeah, you just don't see it in other communities as much. I won't say you don't see it at all, but you just don't see it as much. And it's almost like we feed off it. Yeah. That negativity, whether it's, I run into the same things on TV, right?
Right.
Like I don't think people understand this about you as much as they should. You mentioned it earlier, you're a technician, right? You're not just out there playing off all instincts. Right. You study the game, you work at it. Your football IQ is through the roof and your football knowledge is through the roof. And I think you'll be phenomenal when you decide to retire in however many years. And if you decide to do TV, I think you'll be great at it. Nah, for real. Like the way you break it down and talk, it's real, it's authentic, it's genuine. But I think sometimes on TV, we don't really shine a light on that as much.
Right.
It's more about, well, he sucks, or this guy sucks, or that guy did that, or this guy did that. So for you and just your approach, I just want to say again, thankful for you and what you've been able to showcase. Thank you for being a role model and a mentor for my cousins, my nieces, and my nephews as well, being there in New Orleans, man. And I look forward to having another conversation with you after you guys win the Super Bowl. I know that's what the city wants, and that's what you want to bring to the city, and that would be phenomenal. So appreciate you coming on the show, having this conversation. And I know somebody's going to take something from this episode that they can apply to their own life to make that bad boy better.
Man, I appreciate you, man. It was cool hanging out with you. Anytime you need me, just holler, man. It's all good.
I got you, brother.
Absolutely,
appreciate you, homie.
All the best, brother.
All right, people, that's a wrap for episode 34 of RG3 and The Ones. I want to thank Tyrann Mathieu, a.k.a. the Honey Badger, for coming on the show and dropping some gems on us. Hopefully you took one thing from that episode that you can apply to your own life, and you can become one of one in that boy as well. Man, got to say a huge thank you, and obviously RG3 and The Ones is a Wave Sports and Entertainment original presented by PrizePicks. Got to give a shout out to my producer, Joanna, our social team, and our editor, Brady. And of course, Roosting Oaks Productions, because without all of you, this show would just not be possible. You guys know, you got to hit that like and subscribe button. That's what keeps us rolling, and we want to keep bringing you guys great shows. So make sure you like and subscribe to our page. Listen to us wherever you get your podcasts, and be sure to follow us on social media at RG3 and The Ones. You guys know I like to leave you with something before we go. So just know that God made you one of a kind. So make sure you walk in that and be your true, authentic self every single day. If it's good enough for God, then it should be good enough for everybody else. Peace. See you guys next week.